See,
Okay.
there you go.
I
There you
don't know what
go.
that was about.
I don't know. Don't worry, it won't be in the final cut.
Okay.
No. So you've been on an interview with me before on Instagram.
Yeah.
Um, I think I've grown more as far as asking questions, but we
Okay.
gonna see.
Right.
And before I get into this, I just want you to know that Apollo is a stubborn motherfucker. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Yeah. Apollo is he's a different type of individual, but that's what I loved about him. He was definitely not, he's not your average book bait that
He
be.
definitely went because I was cussing his
Yeah.
ass out.
Yeah. I already
but
know.
but could you introduce yourself? Tell us what genre you write in or genres, and anything you want us to know before we get started.
Okay, so I'm Arthur King Benjamin, independent author from Detroit. I've been published for it'll be 13 years this summer. I've been an independent self-published author, so um, I have about 50 titles published to date. Some of them in another pen name that I'm not promoting at the time. So just the King Benjamin brand is what I'm promoting. But as far as genres go, I'm still kind of trying to figure that out myself a little bit because I feel like the the readers have made genres of their own since I've been writing.
Mm.
So now a lot of things is just kind of like, well, what do you think it is? And I ask readers, what do you think it is? But I definitely write urban fiction. I definitely write street romance and a little bit of suspense, and now contemporary romance.
Okay. My questions, I'm pretty much gonna base it on the street lit and the contemporary because that was a jump. That was a
Yeah,
shift from what I read from American
absolutely.
what is it, American Dreaming?
American Dreaming, yeah.
Yeah, that was a jump. So I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So I have a lot of questions about that. So bear with me.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. So let's get started. What inspires you to start writing and how did you get into the street lit and the contemporary romance genres?
So the street lit it just came kind of from writing what I know. I can
Mm.
remember I went away for a while and I can remember when it was time for me to come home, I was talking to the agent that was basically on the side if I went home or not, and I was telling him that I wrote some books. He
Mm.
asked me what I write about. I was, telling him I'm like, it's about, the streets, the life that, I kind of came from, and I'm just kind of telling romantic stories about that. And he was like, well, you write what you know. And I was like, yeah, you're right. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all I knew at the time. So I was really just coming from a place of, my experience.
Mm.
And once I got into the game, I realized like there's other ways, there's other stuff I want to talk about. There's other things I want to say. I'm more diverse than that. And
Yeah.
I think around 2018, I started to experiment. That's when I wrote "Wash You Off My Skin." It's like a forbidden love story, and more than I can bear. And it just kept spiraling. Like I got all these ideas, and I just wanted to pursue other stuff. But the actual contemporary romance, it was inspired out of like because, like I said, readers they kind of define what genre a book belongs in. So I
Mm.
was like, I want to know why the books that I write that are love stories are not being perceived that way, and I use a thug's millionaire motivation because it's street romance, right? But it's centered around a love story,
Mm-hmm.
four books, and it stays on that topic. But there's also the street life. So I noticed when I read other books that were similar, how they strayed away from the street part of it. But I
Mm.
don't stray away from it because it's what I know, So it's always the details is in there. So I was like, well, let me just. How about I write something I take all of that away. How about I just write something just straight romance, and then people will know that I can write that, and then maybe they'll be more interested in the other stuff that I like to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it came about.
So can you tell me from the first book you wrote and what that experience was as a new writer at that time?
Um, the first book that I actually wrote was not the first book I published. It was called The War Report, and it was based on a newscaster that was that met a nice guy. She thought he was a business owner, which he was, but he was also a drug dealer.
Mm-hmm.
And she fell in love with him, and she didn't realize that he was this street guy until she started reporting on the events that were happening in this war, and she found out that he was, a big part of this war. It's like it's his war, and she has to decide. Now she fell in love with him, so she had to decide: do she want to still continue this, or should she just cut it off at the head right now and move on with her life?
Mm.
That was the first book I wrote.
So how did you feel when you came out with that book?
Well, that's not the first one I published. The first one I published was Crybaby, and when I put that out, it was very, very well received because I think it was a different story at the time.
Mm.
Yeah.
So how does your personal background or environment shape the way you write?
It's everything. Like the same way, because I'm from Detroit, I use this example. The same way Donald Goines' background shaped his books,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is with me. It's literally me like spilling real life into the pen, and I think that's what I separate myself with.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, their fiction is very, very fictional.
Mm.
It's some of the stuff that it would never happen in real life. And shout out to all the authors with such wild imaginations. But a lot of my stuff, even though they're very wild stories, they're very fast paced, they're very entertaining. But a lot of this stuff could actually happen. So my catchphrase is fiction that's way too real because I try to keep it close to realistic as possible without taking the fun out of fiction. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
I always say that fiction has realism in it. I know a lot of people don't like hearing that, but it's true. But then again, it's where you're from, how
Yeah,
you were raised, who you
yeah,
know. Because a lot of stuff I see in urban fiction is some shit that I don't saw around the way in Chicago.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So tell me this: street lit and romance, right, can sometimes be on opposing sides of the spectrum.
Yeah,
But what draws you to these genres? You know what I'm saying? How do you blend the aspect of street lit, urban, and contemporary in the genres that you write in?
I think I just like telling love stories
Mm,
as a writer. That's the that's the base of it. Like I said, the very first book I wrote was The War Report, and it was just as much about the love story as it was about the war, but it was street lit. So um, when people got a hold to it, this one I realized that like the book game was changing because when people got a hold to the book, they was like, I like it, but the couples didn't get enough time together. The couples didn't get enough time together. That was the main thing that everybody kept going back to. The
mm,
parts they liked the most was the parts where the couples were together. And I was like, y'all understand this is street lit, you know? But the game was changing to the point where it was like the books that were being written at the time, they were way more focused on the love story.
mm,
So by the time I came out with my next few books, it was just all street lit. But I always liked telling those love stories, and I just thought, but those books were already written. I think that was my point. Those books were already written. So as I went on, I started to develop how I played the love stories out, and I did start to give the couples more time together.
hmm. How do you approach like writing authentic love stories while still keeping the rawness of street lit intact?
I have a system that I really enjoy, and so my book Crybaby, the catchphrase was a book that feels like a movie, right?
Hmm.
And when I write, it's like how when you watching a movie and it be like something real shocking happens, and then boom, it jumps right back to a scene and characters and stuff that you remember something was going on with them, but you like, okay, what's about to happen now? You know what I mean? So I try to write it in a cinematic way where it's kind of like you feel like you're watching a movie, and I keep hearing that people actually give me that feedback a lot.
Hmm. I could see that because I would love to see American Dreaming turned into a movie, and then again, I would like to see Rapture turned into a movie. But we'll get into that. Do you feel like street lit is misunderstood or undervalued um, in the literary world? What do you wish more people knew about it and how to perceive it?
uh, Undervalued. I don't know if I would say undervalued because I understand that um, there's not everybody can write street lit
Mm-hmm.
in a way that is eye raising to the masses. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, because like a lot of the stuff, it is like you can walk out your neighborhood and see it.
Yeah.
So um, if the writing is not strong enough to actually pull you into where you feel like this is something that I can really, really sink my teeth into without feeling like, what's new? Because I already know this, I live this, or
Yeah.
my boyfriend do this. Like if it's not something that can really pull you in, then I understand. But yeah, I could say that with contemporary romance because it's kind of like um, it's you're not reinventing the wheel with that either. But I think that when you targeting a female audience and you know that they love, it's just way more interesting. So you have to kind of tell a street list story um, at a higher level.
Mm.
Mm.
So, what themes do you find yourself always returning to in your books?
Uh, Emotion,
Mm.
um, comedy when I can, when I'm inspired, um, and like I said, always just trying to be as descriptive as possible and cinematic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, with street literature and contemporary romance, they have like a very special place, in the Black community with storytelling. Why do you think these genres are so important to the Black community?
I think as far as the street lit goes, a lot of people feel like street lit is dead. So
Mm-hmm.
it's hard for me to say how important it is to especially the reading community today.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't so I definitely don't consider myself like a street lit author as far as like that to be my legacy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, and I only say that because I feel like my range is wider, but
Mm-hmm.
also it's like with all of the titles that I have out, I don't know what's going to be the thing that people really remember me by. So I think it's important that street lit did what it did when it was supposed to, because
Mm-hmm.
it got us to this space where we were able to be creative as we wanted to be, and we was able to explore and see how far we wanted to take things. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But um, as far as like the place that it holds, you know what I'm saying, forever, I don't know, because there's, like I said, the genre has just been dissected into all of these multi genres and stuff, and I don't know how to classify a lot of it myself. For real.
So, if I was to ask you, can you define street lit, urban romance, contemporary
Woo.
romance in your own words? In
Okay.
your own words, not
Yeah.
theirs. Your
Yeah.
own words. Do you see a difference between the three?
Yes.
Why?
So so from for me, street lit has always been like I said, what I came in writing, where it was just really about the grimy, gritty tales of street life.
Mm-hmm.
Whether there was romantic relationships involved or not. There was a big portion of the book that it detailed the specifics of, you know, what goes on in the day-to-day street life. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be whether the book is about a prostitute or a hustler or you know, a gambler or whatever it is, it's basically about that street life. And urban romance is mostly majority centered around the romantic relationship. So that was the part that I kind of had, you know, I had to learn more about, because when I started actually reading some of the urban romance authors, I noticed how, um, you know, and then I feel like, I'm gonna say this, I feel like hood romance and street romance to me is not the same thing, because
Mm.
hood romance can be a guy that's, you know, he do what he do, but that never comes into play throughout the whole book. I've read a lot of books like that, and it's like that never comes into play because it stays focused on the relationship. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you say street romance, I'm expecting to see street life. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
That's how I define it. So um, those that's the way I separate them, and I do street romance.
Mm. What about contemporary romance? What's your
Now, contemporary romance, I actually asked my favorite writer about this, Nia Forrester. I was like, "How do you define it?" And she was basically like, "It's basically like it just means modern romance,
mm.
new age romance, based on, like, you know, from where it was when they started writing romance to where it is now."
Okay. Now let's talk about Rapture.
Okay.
So your book of Rapture explores like love, personal growth in a relationship and within oneself. Um not beliefs not aligning with one another.
Absolutely.
Cause that bruh.
Yeah, that damn problem.
Why was that important to highlight in these particular themes?
So what I was trying to do with Rapture was I was trying to explore, like, what the dating world is like right now
Mm-hmm.
in 2025, even though it was real last year. But um, I know a lot of men are out here following these red pill guys, and a lot of women, you know, they're out here, you know, they're listening to people on the internet too. So they're gathering opinions from online and all that those stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
um, there's these belief systems that are clashing a lot
Yeah.
on, you know, what you can do for me, what can I do for you, that type of thing. And so um, I was just inspired to write the story because I was thinking about guys like Kevin Samuels. Like, what would it be like if he met the girl that he actually wanted to be with? What would that struggle be like? You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? After having such strong beliefs on the way you think things should go. You know?
Yeah. Cause Apollo, he was like, I'm just living my best life. His
Yeah,
boy Justin, Justin,
Justin.
the
Yeah,
whole whore of the century.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but
They
then
just having their
again,
fun. They
but then
young.
again, Lyric, she, on the other hand, she was a homebody expecting to find love, but she didn't want to leave the house.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? Then the uh the what was it, the date nap
Yeah,
was giving her all these YNs,
right,
and she was just tired.
right.
She was just tired. So
Yeah.
with Apollo and Lyric's love story, right? It was so layered. It was so
Mhm.
layered with a lot of emotional stuff happening, internal struggles, compromise. That
Yeah,
was a big part.
definitely,
Compromise. What
definitely.
do you think their story? Why do you think their story is necessary for the modern Black romance?
I think everybody has to go on a soul search to feel like to understand, like, what they want and need from a mate.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it was really about. It was about taking because a lot of people, when they found out I was writing romance, they was like, I want to. I want to read it because I want to get things from a male perspective.
Mm-hmm.
We get so much of the female perspective. We don't really know what the male perspective, because from my understanding, there's not a lot of black males out here writing romance.
It's
So
not.
um, I was like, okay, cool. So I was just trying to take you down that journey of what it's actually like. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
men do have to have that soul searching experience before they can really decide. Like, okay, well, this is what I want, and I'm up to the challenges of, you know, changing a little bit of myself if I have to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It was one part I have it highlighted. Well, I ain't about to go on. I have it highlighted where he was discussing how like in the beginning, old girl and him had a little tiff or whatever that he was with at the time, and he felt disrespected, right?
Mm-hmm.
In that part where he was like, I ain't apologizing to her ass, she gonna come back to daddy.
Facts.
That exact y'all, that's exactly how it
Yeah,
was.
facts. That's absolutely, yeah.
And then she was like, all I want is a man to be masculine but compassionate and passionate and be able to communicate with me. You know what I'm saying? And so it was just like seeing the different perspectives
Yeah,
of them was correct. It was wild.
yeah.
But Apollo was wilder.
Right. And I had to make him, like I said, I try to deal with, realistic situations. So I had to make him as stubborn as possible, because in real life, that character, he wasn't apologizing for shit.
Nothing.
Yeah, he wasn't just going to be, you wasn't going to win him over that easy to where he just changed. You know what I'm
That
saying?
man said, I'm gonna give her this dick and she gonna be so she'll apologize to daddy. What
Mhm.
the
Yeah, yeah,
That shit was wild, but you know what? It was good to see the yin and yang, the different perspective from a
right,
male and a female. Because a lot of us females, even if I wasn't even married, I think I still would be in the fucking house
right.
because people give me the heebie jeebies.
Okay.
So therefore I wouldn't even try attempt, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Whereas, he on the other hand was outgoing, his career was flourishing with Bitcoin, all
Right.
this stuff, and it was just mm. He was so full of himself, and she was so stubborn in her ways. It was just woo, Jesus.
Yeah, but lyric, she stood firm on her stance, and I think that was the difference. That's what he hadn't experienced that, you know.
Yeah, because he make them bitches fold.
Yeah,
That's why it was folding for his
yeah,
ass.
yeah.
Woo. So Apollo is different from the typical male leads that you have in your street lit books or your street romance books.
Yeah.
What sets him apart and what makes him a unique character in your lineup?
Uh, just the everything, because like you said, first of all, because it's not a street tale,
Mm-hmm.
he has a completely different life. He's not from the streets. He don't know nothing about the streets. He don't want to know nothing about the street. He's a podcaster. He's an investor. He's a lot of different things that um, I never really write about.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was developing his character, I just kind of pulled from. Actually, I pulled from the things that I enjoy. I enjoy investing, and I enjoy. He played tennis. I love tennis. So I actually just pull from things that I love outside of the streets to create the character.
Mm. Lyric also stood out because she was a character that's not usually like the characters you write in your other books, as far as a woman. You know what I'm saying? How is she different and what makes her special?
So lyric is really special
Mm.
because lyric is based on somebody I know. Um,
Mm.
she's based on a real teacher from Nigeria that I was able to just tap into and get a lot of real life information about what it was like, from her coming to America and starting her journey and how she felt about being a teacher. She absolutely based on a real person.
Mm.
Yeah.
So your characters in Rapture go through internal and external battles with love.
Yeah.
Why was it important to showcase the struggle? Because a lot of times people be like, "Oh, I don't want to read a book because it's struggle love," which you
Yeah.
stupid motherfuckers do not understand. There's no such thing as struggle love. Okay,
Right.
everybody go through ups and downs.
Right.
But what? Why was it important to showcase those struggles they were going through to grow in their relationship?
Again, just to be realistic with the writing, because before before we get, especially with the couple, the book that I decided to write with this couple. So
Mm,
before we get to the bliss, there's got to be like something confrontational going on, because that transition for him was not gonna go smooth. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And I think I wanted to make sure that it was a balance of the timing. You know what I'm saying? That it took
Mm,
for him to get to that space, and
mm,
and so it felt like a realistic situation by the time they actually got together and started enjoying each other as much as they did.
mm. What do you hope readers, especially black men and women, because they both can learn from what this is, because this is very realistic.
Yeah.
What do you want them to take away from Rapture?
I I would just want them. I would want people to take away from it just the ability to tap into yourself, the ability to always continue to change, level up for the betterment of yourself and your partner. Just the basic relationship trials and tribulations that people go through. It's a lot about communication, and in book two, I explore that even more. Because a lot of what they go through in book two is about being open and honest and communicating, even when it might not be the thing you want to hear.
Yeah. So will you make more books like this besides book one, book two? Would you make more books like this, or are you going to go
I
back?
already did. I already did. I just put one out. So Justin and Victoria got a book too.
That's
The
more.
Yeah, yeah. Justin and Victoria got a book too, but Justin ain't what you think he is. Like a lot of people, because he's just on the podcast and you don't get to see him outside of the podcast, you don't really know. But a lot of people, they've read the book already, so they know what I'm talking about. But
But
Justin,
bruh, you came out swinging talking about this man had a bitch in the hotel. Uh, that fucked the bitch all through the house while the girl in the hotel. I'm like, what type of
I mean,
whore ass
yeah,
shit is
he's young, he's single, he's got money, he's like, so, and he's not like Apollo. So Apollo was more honest with women than Justin was,
that? Mm.
but Justin, he's just living his life. You know what I'm saying? He's young and just living his life.
So let me ask you this: if Rapture was to become a movie, who would be the actor and
Mm,
actress that you want to play Apollo and Lyric?
mm. I think what's his name? Ghost could play Apollo.
I can see that. I can see that.
Ghost
I can
could
see
play
that.
Apollo. And Lyric. I don't know a lot of actresses' names, but my favorite actress for a long time was Regina King. So if she was a little younger, I would picture somebody like her doing that role.
Okay. So your characters are navigating through love, loyalty, and survival in a lot of your books.
Yeah.
And what makes a great main character in your eyes?
You said male main
No,
character.
a main character. It
Huh?
could be male or female. What makes a main character in your eyes a great one?
Um, a standout, a kind of a standout personality for one,
Mm,
and that's not always easy to accomplish after you've written so many books. But that's one of the reasons I kind of bounce around and explore different genres, because like um, if you just stay in one genre, it gets harder and harder to create a standout character.
Mm.
And I think that's one thing. Just having a standout personality. And for the males, a lot of times I like to display the leadership in them, the self confidence in them, the if they have a leadership position, I want to show some type of intelligence.
Mm.
For the females, I usually make strong characters when it comes to females. Why they got me with this hat on? They just doing all kind of stuff. Um, but I always try to make strong female characters because
Yeah.
that's just what I know. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I don't know a lot of weak ass women,
Yeah.
so I don't. When I'm not even inspired to create that character. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of women that are bosses. I know a lot of women that are entrepreneurs. I know a lot of women are just strong in their being. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So I think when I'm creating a female character, I'm thinking about the experience that I have, and I'm trying to portray that on the pages.
Mm. So, what's the most challenging part about writing male characters in relationships?
I mean, me and every guy he wants a relationship most of the time. I'll say 90% of them anyway. Guys want love just like women do. They don't want to be um, just out here. You know what I'm saying? You know, in the streets.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of really want that, but it's just like it takes the right woman, and I try to portray that in the book. That it's really just about it's about the right woman coming along, and the communication of what they need from each other in order to make that work.
Right. So, how do you ensure your female characters are just as complex, well developed as your male characters?
Oh, I have a whole system that I go through with my books. I don't just sit down and start writing. I have a whole system. Uh, I have character traits that I pull from. I have personality quirks.
Mm.
I add along the way. I try to make it like a real person as much as possible.
Mm.
So that's why like I can't, and I don't want to say it like that because it might sound like I'm trying to down somebody, but I can't produce work that fast because
Mm.
I take a lot of time to develop the characters. You know what I'm saying? And I try to do it in a way that um, it feels like a real person. And when you finish reading the book, if it ever became a movie, you would see like, yeah, that's how she was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Instead of
Yeah.
it just being like a character with a name. You know what I mean?
Huh. I like that. I mean, everybody is different.
Yeah, definitely.
Writers aren't in a monolith. Black people aren't in a monolith.
Yeah,
People are different. They do
yeah,
things different. Some people can do it faster than others. It doesn't
absolutely.
mean that the readers are not going to pressure y'all and be all up in y'all inbox. It's like, hey, where that
Yeah,
book?
exactly.
Just
I,
saying.
I don't want that. I don't want that pressure. I gotta focus.
So one of the most compelling, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Compelling dynamics in Rapture is the contrast between Apollo's being a cynic
Yeah,
and Lyric being an optimist.
yeah,
And when it comes to their love, you know what I'm saying?
right.
So how hard was it for you to balance these opposing views while making the relationship feel real and compelling?
It flowed honestly like that. That's why I know it was meant for me to write that book
Mm-hmm.
because I got the idea, and you just heard me sit up and talk about how my process is.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't need to do a lot of that. It was just kind of like I sat down, I thought about the story I wanted to tell, and the characters. I know you've heard Arthur say that before. the characters just really started talking. So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
just were telling me what they really wanted to say, and I love when a book go like that because it's kind of like it takes so much of the workload out when it's like the characters come alive and start telling you where to
Hmm.
go with the story. So that's how that went for real.
So, do you think with that happening, do you think that's growth as you as a writer, or it just happens that way?
It's growth, but it's also when you're writing a book that you're really inspired to write because
Mm,
that would wash you off my skin too, and that was a different type of book for me, and it just flowed. I wrote it really fast.
mm.
Yeah.
So, how do you think Apollo and Lyric's story challenges the way we typically see Black love in fiction?
Well, as far as I know, like, cause I don't, I read, but I don't get a chance to read as much as I know, nearly as much as I used to. So as far as I know, there's not a lot of characters out there in the romance contemporary romance space where um the male character is not being portrayed as like the ultimate book boyfriend bae that you just want to fall in love with. You know what I'm saying, everything about this nigga's perfect from the beginning. You know what I'm saying, and it's like you just want to, he just making hearts melt. You know what I'm saying, that's so it's different in the sense that you know Apollo gonna get on your damn nerves. He's gonna make you, you know what I'm saying? Like some people was like, I almost DNF this book because you know what I'm saying,
You
he's
had me fighting
irritating.
the air.
Yeah, like he's irritating. But as you get to as it goes on and you start to see the change in him, um, it makes you appreciate the story even more.
Mm. So, this goes back to the thing I was saying with Rapture, that there was compromise.
Yeah,
And it was like you had a lesson in compromising and how to stand firm in your relationship without disrespect.
yeah.
What message do you hope readers take away from that?
Uh, just that that you definitely have to be able to, like I said, I explored it a lot more in book two
Hmm.
because the communication a lot of times it's like um I don't want to get too much away on that, but even after what I'm saying, you're in a stable relationship, there still has to be open communication about a lot of things. But when a relationship is new, it's like you're still testing the waters.
Yeah,
So I'm still learning things about you. You still learning things about me. We're
yeah,
gonna have some problems,
yeah.
and especially if you're dating a public figure, we're
Hmm.
gonna have some problems that's gonna have to be addressed. And
Yeah.
now with the way social media is, shit, everybody's kind of a public figure. You're a public figure.
The fuck? I ain't too public, so don't get it twisted. Don't let him get your ass whooped. I'm not that damn public.
For
Uh,
real. So like if you were out at an event or something and then and you was dangling and somebody saw something that they misinterpreted, you would have to explain that, you know what I'm saying, to make sure that your mate understand, nah, that's not what's going on. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
That's real life stuff.
Do you think the modern Black romance um, novels are doing enough to showcase the emotional and psychological depth of relationships, or do you still think there's room to grow with that?
I think they are.
Mm.
Like I said, I don't read as much as I used to, but that's one of the reasons I love Nia Forster books because she's one of the authors that um, she knows how to take basic real life everyday relationships and turns it into like the way she writes the story is like it sounds so much more amazing than like you sitting in your living room spending time with your man.
Mm.
It sound like something completely different. But the dialogue and everything, it's like
Yeah.
I learned some stuff from her. I'm not gonna lie.
And it's kind of refreshing hearing that a male author can accept. a female author and say, I took guidance from her, or she would kind of mentor me in a way to help me understand it, that is refreshing to hear. Trust me.
Absolutely.
Because some of y'all are dicks.
Ooh, you know what? I'm glad I'm here because
Some of y'all are
I understand. I need to clear the room a little bit and create a safe space for us again. So
yes.
that's what I
Because
need to do.
I got about one more time in me. One more time.
And I seen it in you. I ain't gonna lie.
I got one more time before I crash out on this here interweb. I'm telling you.
I was like, oh, I
I
saw
am
it
still
coming.
from Chicago.
Yeah, I know. Trust
All
me.
right. So, what has been your experience as a Black indie author in the publishing industry?
Um, I can only really speak from the male perspective because that's my true perspective.
Mm,
So because when I came in, like I said, my first book was really well received, but I still had so long to go.
mm-hmm,
But I also along the way things were changing, like so street lit kind of took a back burner to urban romance really fast,
mm-hmm,
and I saw a lot of people come and go.
mm-hmm,
I guess maybe they lost the love for writing, or I don't know, but I seen so many people come and go that just me sticking around this long, it kind of gave me, that's what gave me the motivation, because every time I would put a book out, I
mm-hmm,
had a small group of people that were just rooting me on. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? And honestly, since I've been writing, it's always been that way, because it's like, even readers, like a lot of people stay right now, they say like, I hear it all the time. I never heard of you.
mm-hmm,
And that's because um, I had a small group of readers that were, they would, but that would rotate. It would be other people would put down reading for a while and then come back, and then it would be a new group of people. But right now there's a lot of new people that are just finding their love for reading again. You know what I'm saying?
that's
So
true.
yeah, so it's like if you just started reading, like if you just picked up your love of reading again, you don't know that I've been writing for 13 years. Yeah, you never heard of me. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But my experience has just been this whole time just trying to get into the space where I do have people like you and book influencers who would just actually let the world know, because I do my due diligence. I've been running paid advertisement for years. You know what I'm
Just
saying?
wouldn't come on TikTok.
Uh,
You
that's
just
why.
wouldn't.
And you know what? This is what's crazy. Let me tell you, this is what's so crazy about that. Because by the time you said that,
Mm-hmm.
I was just so tired of social media as a whole. Them other apps don't. I just made the video about that. Just them other apps don't work like this. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know that it actually worked as well. I honestly thought you would just kind of like lead me on to something that was going to be the same thing over and over again. I'm like, well, it might work for that for the female authors, but I didn't want to start that process all over again.
Yeah.
I've done with so many social media apps. So I hate that. I miss that. I miss that. You
Yeah,
know,
you had a Apollo moment.
I did.
Yep, yep, yep.
I did. I'm
I am
kicking
not
myself
trying
in
to
the
leave
ass
you
right now
astray.
for real. I should have been over here. I
So,
should
what
have.
advice do you give other Black male authors, especially coming in a space where your readers are predominantly women
Yeah.
and they're predominantly Black women? So, what advice would you give a male author who's coming into the romance genre? I don't care if it's hood romance, contemporary romance, street romance, the street lit, paranormal, I don't care.
Yeah.
What advice would you give that writer as a male coming into this world?
I would give them. I'm gonna tell you the truth. It's not even some complicated shit I'm finna say. I would give them the advice that a female author gave me. A couple of female authors gave me, because they were absolutely right. You have to give the readers what they want.
Mm,
That's the end of that's the bottom line. Like, we write for ourselves, of course, because a lot of
mm-hmm,
us is therapy and we love to do it. But
mm-hmm.
your therapy ain't gonna pay your bills. So you gotta, you know what I mean? You definitely have to give the readers what they want.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what a lot of people, a lot of male authors probably will have to make an adjustment to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
So how has self publishing um worked for you, and do you wish to go traditional or do you prefer just indie?
I never really wished to go traditional. One of my closest friends, well, my closest friend actually, and writing partner, we got a couple of books that we wrote together.
Mm-hmm.
She had an offer for a self help book that she wrote,
Mm-hmm.
and it gave me some insight on, because she turned it down. It gave me some insight on traditional publishing, and it's a lot of work for the times and that we're living in today. Not saying that it's not a good thing for certain people, but it wouldn't be for me because of the way it's structured. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? I don't like that I don't like the deadlines. I don't like the weight, and you know what I'm saying, as far as the money coming. I don't like none of it. So I have thought about um actually giving a book to an independent black publisher before. I actually worked with Nicole Jackson one time,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the only person I ever worked with. But I have thought about doing that one time, but I just keep thinking to myself, like a lot of the people I be seeing online, I'm be honest, like a lot of these people, they do know who I am. So I don't really. The reason I haven't done it is I don't think it's truthful for me to go to another independent company just for people that already know me to all of a sudden go support. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I just grind it out, you know.
Do you think that, I know you said you don't want to go traditional, but do you think that, just say if, do you think it's space enough in mainstream for your stories?
Um, I don't know, but it's not really like I want my goal when I came into this. This is crazy, right? But my goal was to only to write 10 books and then to start pursuing movies.
Mm,
So my goal has always been movies, and I haven't really got the book grind to where I wanted it to be to do it. So
mm,
I was never really trying to write 50 books. I just
mm,
found out that I could, and my love for writing grew. But I really want to. I got a lot of books that would be, you just like you said, they would be great on the screen.
mm.
And but that takes a lot of, not even a lot of money no more. It don't take a lot of money no more. But what it does take is a lot of time and a lot of people in place.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on.
So, if one of your books were adapted into a movie or TV adaptation, which one of your books would it be, and why?
It's a lot of them. Like it's not even just one book. I got a street lit uh, title called Gank Masters that I wrote the series. The series is actually written. It's gonna be a series.
Mm-hmm.
I have a book about another street lit book about a female prostitute called Roxanne. I want that to be a movie for sure. It's definitely something. Once it plays out on screen,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be so much more than what it is now. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of Wash You Off My Skin, the book about the forbidden love story,
Yeah.
and then More Than I Can Bear, which is just like the worst divorce ever. So
Yeah.
I got a lot of
So, what legacy do you want to leave as an author? What legacy you want to leave behind so everyone knows King Benjamin?
um I think the legacy has to be the realism, because like I said, not everybody wants to even accomplish that. to
Yeah.
make your projects feel like this feels so real. You know,
Yeah.
not even everybody wants to accomplish that. So I would be happy with that if it was just that. Uh, when they speak about the writing, to just know, like, that's how I separated myself with, making the stories as real as possible.
Yeah. So, what's next? What upcoming books or projects we need to be looking out for?
Because I just released She Got Justin, the story about Victoria and Justin. I don't want to I don't want to reveal the title of what I'm working on, but it's not contemporary romance. I'm going back to the streets with this one.
Okay.
And it's this is going to be uh definitely, if not my best work, definitely some of my best work, because um I think it's going to appeal to a broad audience. And
Okay.
it's like, I seen a lot of 2 years ago. I didn't know what a trope was. I'm gonna be honest. I had no idea what that was. But I seen a lot of the tropes now that I so I go through the stuff and I be like, I couldn't write this. I couldn't write this. I don't want to write about unhinged men. That's just not me as a writer. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people are already doing that well, so we don't need another person doing it.
Wait a minute. Pause.
Like the way I hear unhinged, like I'm saying, I'm not talking about Apollo unhinged. I'm talking about,
No, okay. American Dreaming.
yeah. So my characters are crazy, right? But they're not
That
like,
is what it
they're not crazy woman crazy. Like, it's not, they're not crazy because the woman makes them crazy, and they just like, you know they're going crazy about the female. They're crazy because they were crazy before they met the woman. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm talking about when I say unhinged. I'm talking about those stories. But yeah, my characters is definitely crazy. I ain't saying that. But like,
I'm
I don't
about to
want to write
say.
a lot of the other stuff. I don't want to do arranged marriages and stuff like that. So, but my point being, I found something that I could tap into, that I,
Mm,
I want to tell a story about. You know what I mean? So that's what's coming next.
okay. So you are so multifaceted when it comes to your writing.
Yeah.
Do you think your mentality changes and shifts each time you switch to a genre, whether it be street lit, contemporary, suspense? You
Mhm.
know, does your mentality shift on your writing style, or it always stays the same?
That's a good question. I think it kind of stays the same though, because like I said, I with with Rapture, I did have to strip away all of the crutches that I use to write. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no violence, there's no gunplay, and all this other stuff that I use. Um, but it was still like, when I go down the list of things that I use to make a book exciting,
Mm-hmm.
feel like I gotta pull from that list. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And that's just the structure that worked for me.
Okay. As a black male in the romance genre, um, how do you maintain your ideals as a man, your ideals as a black man, and your ideals as a black author?
Mm. You giving me some you
I
giving
was
me
trying to
some
save the
head
question.
scratches right there.
I'm trying to save the real
Yeah,
questions until at the end.
yeah. How do I? It's just being true to who I am as a person. Like, I think as an author, you have to understand that there is a space for you to um genuinely connect with the readers
Mm-hmm.
without losing yourself. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? And I just try to tap into that with everything I do, from this interview that I'm giving you right now to the books that I write.
yeah.
And just trying to tap in and find a balance between the two, because honestly, um, with social media, it's not always easy to be what people want you to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What I mean by that is, like, this is a business. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? At the end of the day, it's still a business. So I have times where it's like, I want to, I want to kind of push the line on as far as like what I will tolerate and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But I always have to remember that this is a business. But I still have to. I'm a man. You get
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We got to draw the line somewhere. Where's that line go? Okay, I have to dissect the circumstances and realize, like, okay, when do I have to draw the line? You know what I mean? But that's a constant effort. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm. Oh yeah, I get it because I'm always 1 foot into the jail. I'm always 1 foot there,
Yeah,
no matter where I'm at.
yeah,
I'm always like that.
yeah.
So, with that being said, what can you tell the women, the black women that read your books? Some of them are on here, and there's new people here. What can you tell them the reason to read your book?
Oh, that's an easy one. Cause like I'm I'm not trying to appeal to every single reader.
Mm-hmm.
I want to grab the readers that are really into like real life shit. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be contemporary romance, whether it be street lit, urban romance, however you know what I'm saying, whatever is your cup of tea. But if you like books that are closer to reality, you know what I'm saying, you might be a mood reader. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like my target audience too. Somebody that's like, sometimes I'm in the mood for this, sometimes I'm in the mood for this, sometimes I'm in the mood for that. Those are my target people that you know what I'm saying, I really want to tap into because those are the people that's going to feel what I do. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And if there's people that think that he's not going to give me what I need, because I know like some people they just don't really tap into male artists because they don't think they're going to give you what they need. I
Mm.
think you would be pleasantly surprised. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Okay. Well, where can these people find you on this here social media web? And where can they buy your books? And do you have a website?
I do have a website that is kingbenjaminpresents.com, but that has to be a revamp. A lot of my titles are not on there because, uh, well, not a lot of my titles are on there, but the ones I released recently are not on there because I had stopped selling books on my website just to cut the cost down on all of this stuff because it gets expensive, and the less money is coming in,
Mm.
you have to find a way to cut down the cost. So I want to revamp the website and put the other books on there and actually start back to selling books directly from the website. But right now, it's just going to lead you to Amazon. So all my books are on Amazon, but you can definitely tap into the website and you can definitely join my mailing list from my website because that's really the best way to find out about new releases and stuff like that.
What about how do they stay in contact with you in case this app goes away or whatever? Yeah.
I'm mostly on here. Like I love TikTok, so
You know
um,
what?
I do. I swear to God. Like I hate I'm kicking myself in the ass every day that it took me so long to get here. But yeah, I'm on everything as Arthur King Benjamin, but I don't care about the other stuff like that. Like I definitely be on there, but I don't care about it. I'm on TikTok.
You know what? I'm not even gonna say I told you so. Well, I just did.
You can. You earned that right. You earned that right.
Our interview, what was a year and a half ago?
Yeah. Yep. Something like that.
Wow. But I'm happy you here now
Yeah.
because there's so many readers that you can reach here that, a lot of authors don't know. Go under the hashtags.
Yeah.
Hashtag urban fiction, hashtag contemporary romance, black, especially black romance, black, just go under there and you just see a plethora of influencers and book readers and book clubs.
Yeah.
And then you have Shannon, my business partner, who
Yeah.
owns a online bookstore.
Okay.
There are readers who have businesses that are directly for the indie authors. So
Mhm.
there's marketing people, there's PR people, there's a lot. PAs.
I mean, I'm definitely finding them. I'm finding them, and they finding me at the same time. So that's why I know like this is where I need to be.
I'm gonna just shut up.
You gonna keep shaking your head at me like that though? Wow.
But I just appreciate you coming on here. It was great talking to you again. Um, Rapture is good. I just Apollo.
I know. I know. But you got when you get a chance, you got to check out Justin book because I think everybody like Justin way more than Apollo.
Do you know I highlighted that shit when the fucking hotel? I was like, he said what?
Yeah.
Like, who? What? That's some what? That had blew me. So it's up now, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna read that. I'm gonna read that because I gotta. I'm gonna give him a chance. I'm
Yeah.
gonna give him a chance
It's Justin the champ.
because that he wasn't looking too good.
I already know. That's the intriguing part about it. Like how did he wind up getting her? You know?
Yeah, I won't know. Just said, but
Yeah.
I thank you. And you got how long? Oh, somebody said how long has he been writing? How long have you been writing?
13 years this summer.
He been a
13.
game. He a OG.
Yeah, I am. I claim that title.
He a OG that got sense.
Right. I caught that one. I caught it.
But thank you for coming up here. I appreciate you. I love your work. Because American Dreaming is kind of one of my favorites. Yes, Rapture is good,
Yeah.
but then again, I'm a hood chick that like hood books, so therefore,
No, I'm glad you said that because that's absolutely one of my favorite books that I want to be remembered by.
American Dream is so fucking good because it's not even about the girl. It's just the whole fucking situation.
Yeah.
It's just so good what he going through, what he trying to stay away from, just everything.
Yeah.
Everything. I love that book. But once again, thank you. I hope you guys go check out his work. Follow him on his page. Make sure you keep. So which book is recommended first?
I hate answering that question because I never know what the reader likes. And I would say go to my catalog. My catalog is pinned to my page. Go to my catalog. Look at the catalog. Type it in. If you like the synopsis, you're gonna get exactly what you're looking for.
That's what I'm. Well, that's what I'm talking. Cause some of y'all be writing synopsis and be lying.
Yeah, yeah. I never do that. My synopsis is gonna tell you exactly what you're getting into, and then
That,
you decide from there.
that's why I like that. I love that. I love that because I'm a synopsis person.
Yeah.
I mean, I like covers, but I need to read what the hell you write.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's me.
Running right over there now.
Thank
All
you. I
right,
appreciate you.
no problem. Hopefully we get to see you on one of the Boozy book tours.
Yeah, I want to try to make that happen too. I'm really ready to get back out into to these book tours and traveling and
We're
events.
gonna be in Chicago October 18th.
I'm there.
So I'll send you the information. And yeah, I want you to come to the Boozy Book Tour in Chicago. You right there.
Yeah,
You right here.
nothing.
We're right
I
next to
almost
each
walked to
other.
Chicago.
Huh?
I can almost walk to Chicago. That ain't nothing. I'm definitely coming.
For real. Are you gonna be at A. Lewis and ICU's event in Detroit?
I haven't heard about it. I haven't heard about the ice, but that's another story for another day. So I probably won't be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. We finna get out of here. This will be up on YouTube sometime next week and on Spotify as well. So, all right, y'all. I'm out.
Peace.